Hello everyone, welcome to Anu's classroom. So term and examination starting next week, right? MMPC 1 first semester, I guess it is on 12th of June 2023, right? So let us discuss the very recent term and examination paper of MMPC 1, okay? This paper is from December 2022. We will be going through this entire question paper so that you guys are prepared on how you can write your examination this semester, right? All the question papers up till 2022 December, that is till June 2022, I have already discussed in a previous video wherein we were discussing all the question papers for this course. You can definitely go check it out. There we have discussed almost around 10 more than 5 to 10 question papers, all the previous years question papers starting from around 2017. That is old syllabus also I have discussed. So whatever questions were relevant to our new syllabus, that was also discussed to give you guys a comprehensive idea and prepare you guys for the term and examination. So in this video we will the only paper which released after that was December 2022. So that is why in this video we will be only discussing December 2022's paper. As you can see, you will be getting 3 hours. The maximum marks that you can get is 100. But in case you're getting 100 out of 100 in this paper also, overall in your grade card you will only get 70%. Why? Because 30% is from your assignments. I hope you guys have all submitted your assignments very well, no plagiarisms and all, right? So there are two sections in this paper. Section A is purely theory oriented. So if you have and you just need to, there are 5 questions here in section A, you just need to attend 3, so 60 marks. So if in case you have studied all the units judiciously, definitely you will get 60 marks, at least above 50, which is enough for passing. Then the section B is case study, which definitely at least some marks we will get because we are not that dumb, right? You will be given a case excerpt and you will be asked questions from the according to that case. So it is kind of like a practical how would you behave practically is what the university is trying to measure, since it is not a class setup, right? So it is not something to be worried about. Even this subject and some other subjects also have case study, so that is nothing to be worried about, okay? If you know the concepts well and with your practical knowledge, because every manager is different. The way I behave is not how you would behave. The reasons why I choose a particular choice or an alternative may not be yours, right? So we all are different, each manager is different. Through a case study, what the university is trying to understand is how would you behave in a certain situation. So I would say there is no right or wrong answer to any of those case study questions, but rather how well can you justify your choice. That is what is being looked upon there, okay? So we will also be discussing a case study here. I've had a lot of requests in the past for case study discussion, so I thought, why not, let us have a session for case study discussions. I know this is a recorded session, but to get maximum advantage of out of a case study discussion, it has to be peer. So let us see, depending upon the response I get on this video, I will definitely consider at least by the next semester if we can have a live case study discussion alone. That is there in my mind. I hope to do that. Let's see, depending upon the response, we will try to do that, okay? So let us look at these questions one by one. Section A, the first question is, describe and discuss the various functions of management as well as the challenges encountered for organizational effectiveness. Now, what for this question, since you must realize that each of this question contains 20 marks, okay? So you need to have, you will be getting a booklet. If you guys do not know it, you will be getting a booklet of around 30 pages, 28 to 30 pages. And that is the only writing material that you're going to get, okay? You will not be given any sort of additional question papers. So as a manager, you must be aware, well and aware by now, that the manager's capacity is in making use, the best use of whatever resource you have, right? So right now, when you're writing a term and examination, I would say the resource that you have is your answer sheet, right? That booklet. So how best you utilize that booklet shows your managerial capacity in one way, I would say. Okay, so you have let's say 28 pages or so. At least 5 questions you will have to answer out of 8, or in this case section A, section B, all together you can say at least 8 at least 5 questions you might have to answer. 4 to 5 questions, 20 marks each, right? So a good what you can say, a good strategy would be like the strategy which I have told my previous batch students also, is that you guys try to fill up at least 4 pages, okay, 4 sheets at least for one answer for 20 marks. So I'm not saying that you must, because I am in no way, let me come honest, I am in no way associated with IGNO, okay? I'm just a private tutor trying to help you out the maximum, but this is something which my students, previous batch students have found useful as well. So that is why I'm telling you guys, aim for at least filling up 4 pages per question. You will be easily able to fill up your answer sheet. Also, you'll be able to utilize your answer sheet also properly. So there is no reason for you guys not getting above 15 marks if the content you're using to fill up those 4 pages is relevant to the question, right? So in this case, discuss the various functions of management. You can start by defining what you understand by management. Then you can go ahead and say what are the functions. We have 5 functions, right? We have planning, organizing, staffing, then directing, controlling, and how these all are interlinked with each other. You can draw a diagram like this also and explain. Okay, and you can explain about what you understand by planning, what you understand by organizing, what you understand by staffing, what you understand by directing, what you understand by controlling. So that will give you the first part of the answer. The next is the challenges encountered by managers for organizational effectiveness. What all could be the challenges? Globalization, the quality of your workforce, the cost, the quantity, the what you can say, the changing environment around you, the political situation around you. There are a lot of challenges that a manager might face. So you can list down all the challenges that you that comes to your mind, and maybe even give a one liner or so about these challenges, depending upon how much space you have left, right? For filling up those 4 pages, you can expand your answer as given as much as you know about the topic, and then finally maybe you can write a concluding paragraph also, depending upon whether you have space, right? Ideally, a 4 page answer should be enough to fetch you 20 marks, at least 15 plus marks. Now, the next is briefly discuss the steps that are involved in the planning process and its necessity. What is management by objective and what are its benefits? Explain. So, management by objectives, again, it is a very important topic. So for planning process, you can, for this answer also, you can start by defining what you understand by planning, what is the nature or what are the characteristics of planning. Then you can also write a brief about the various types of planning, right? Based upon time, based upon the situation, like you have strategic planning, you have tactical planning, you have operational planning. Whatever gist about planning you can write. Then you can talk about the steps that are involved in planning. Give it as a subheading and you can start talking about it. So what will all be the steps involved? Setting up of an organization's objectives, develop a planning premise, identify all the alternatives, then you have to evaluate your alternatives, then you have to take a follow-up action, right? You can explain also, depending upon how much your handwriting takes up. Also it depends, right? You can give explanation of each of these steps as well if required. Okay, then you can talk about the necessity of planning. So why you think planning is necessary? It will help us identify all the obstacles, right? Pre-plan ahead. It can help us evaluate all these alternatives so that we can take up the best alternative out of all the available choices we have. It focuses our attention on the objectives as well as the results. It will help us in managing complexities that might arise. It gives us a kind of protection, you can say, from failures. It facilitates decision making by giving us guidelines. It promotes innovative ideas. All those different things that you can comes to your mind with regards to the necessity of planning, you can write. Okay, then for management by objectives, what can you write? You can talk about what objective is, right? Objective is the future goals or the desired state that an organization strives to achieve in the future. Then the next you can say, what is management by objectives? It is a strategic management model which aims to improve the performance of an organization by clearly defining the objectives that are agreed by both the management as well as employees. So if you guys have any kind of an industry exposure, then you might be well aware, at least if you guys have friends or relatives who are working in corporates, you might as well be aware of them saying their promotion cycles, their appraisal cycles, their review processes going on, terms like this, right? So what is common in all those things is certain goals will be set for maybe the next 6 months or the next 1 year, and at the end of that period they will sit together with their managers and evaluate how much they were able to achieve, whether whatever they achieved is good enough for the organization or not, all those things. Okay, so those are discussed there, and based on that only the appraisal or the hike, promotion, all those kind of things will be evaluated. Okay, so that is management by objectives. Now the goals that are set for this is almost always in alignment with the objectives of the organization or the project in which they work in. So naturally you might now be understanding that each of this thing will have its own advantages as well as disadvantages, right? So what are the advantages? Since we are the ones who are involved, we will be involved in this setting up of this objective along with our managers. We employees will have a much more sense of being involved in their lives, like they have this false sense of control, which if you actually think about is in non-existent, I must say. But at least we get a false idea that we are in control of our career. Okay. Then assigning these kind of tailored goals will bring a sense of importance to employees. That is what I was talking about. That it will help develop the communication lines between management as well as the employees. Managements can create goals that lead to the success of the company as well. But like any other good thing, it also has its own disadvantages also. So since it, though it is not asked, you can, if in case you guys have not filled up your 4 pages, you can also write disadvantages down, right? And that it is purely focused on the goals and targets. So what happens is that how those goals and targets are achieved becomes may not be given that much of an importance. So again, it becomes like, kind of like a rat race. How many goals, how many targets did you put, how many deliverables have you given for this particular year, whether you are able to complete all those things. So again, it becomes another corporate rat race. That is what happens most cases, right? Though these things are all sugared into saying it is all for the employees good and all, finally it also ends up as a corporate rat race, I must say. So coming back, the third question is describe time and motion study and its advantages, and also on how architectural ergonomics can impact the efficiency and productivity of the workers. Okay, so this time and motion study again. So if you might remember from your classes, from the textbook, time and motion study. Time study was by Taylor and motion study was by Gilbert. Okay, Terblig, if you remember Terblig, you might remember Gilbert. Okay, so time and motion study. So time study, what happens is that time study, as the name suggests, it focuses on recording how much time it takes for a particular person to complete a particular task, and then based upon that a standard time or a fair day's work time is calculated. Okay, a fair average, you can say standard time is derived at. Similarly, motion study aims at what you can say, how to best arrange the physical motions of a particular employee so that maximum productivity can be achieved, right? In a way, it is all kind of mechanizing humans, right? Forcing the underprivileged class, middle class, lower middle class people into subjugation, trying to make humans into machines, I would say, when when you think deep. But let's not think that deep, because we just need the marks, right? Maybe once we are managers, maybe we can do some changes about it, right? So again, motion study, as we were saying, it was done by Gilbert, and he what you can say, split up basic motions into a set of 17 basic motions, like grasping, leaving, placing somewhere, pushing the cart when it's empty, pushing the cart when it is fully loaded, things like that. The basic motions, picking a brick up, laying the brick down, hitting the brick. Okay, if you are a construction worker, that is. So all these basic motions, he separated them into terbligs. I think he was in lack of any good word, so he decided, I'm not sure whether it is a he, okay, Gilbert decided that they'll just reverse their name, and that is how Tilburg came into that word. What is that? Gil, that word came into being. Okay, Terblings came into being. Sorry about that. Okay, so you can talk about the advantages and disadvantages of time as well as motion study, and how architectural ergonomics impacts the efficiency and productivity of workers. You can talk about what exactly is ergonomics, what is architectural ergonomics. Then you can say by what you can say, with proper workspace design. That is what basically what you can say ergonomics is all about, right? Workspace designing. You might have come across the word ergonomic mouse, ergonomic chair, ergonomic keyboard and all. If you're searching for these things on Amazon, you might have come across this word ergonomics. So what that ergonomics means, it is the study of individuals and their physical relationship to the work environment. Okay, so and accordingly, how best can you alter the shape of your say desk, your working desk, or the shape of the backrest of your chair, so that it best supports you while you are working, right? So those things is what ergonomics is all about. So proper workspace design, it will definitely help us in reducing the risk of injury to workers, right? It minimizes the required number of movements or steps. It optimizes the flow of process of materials through the space. And by designing for such an efficient use of space, what happens is that the usability increases, and therefore the workflow becomes much more efficient and accessible to workers, right? So that is about architectural ergonomics and its impact. Now, what is the importance of the controlling function in an organization was the fourth question. So again, let me say, only 3 questions you need to write from section A, but anyways, we will be discussing all the 5 questions. That is why I am going ahead with the fourth question, okay? So what is the importance of this controlling function in an organization? So again, you can talk about what you understand by controlling function and how it is interdependent on all the other functions like planning, staffing, organizing, directing, how controlling will help or augment the other functions, right? All managerial functions, you could say, starts with planning and ends with controlling, and then again controlling leads its way to further planning. So it is a never ending 360-degree process which is very much continuous. So what are the importance of the controlling function in an organization? It ensures the efficient and effective use of resources of the organization. It will help us find whether we are deviating from the plan and take necessary actions to bring us back on track, right? It helps us in achieving organization's objective. It helps us cope with changes. It helps in the efficient use of resources. It helps in determining the accuracy of the standards which we are maintaining, helps in decision making. It helps in the motivation of employees. It helps maintain the discipline and order. It improves coordination, right? Now, what are the you can also talk about the process of control in an organization, how it happens. First, standards are established, then we will measure the actual performance. We will determine if the performance matches the standard, and we will take corrective actions and reevaluation of the standard wherever necessary, right? So how can you do that establishment of processing performance standards? We can talk, right? The main objective, the reason why we go for controlling is so that to guide the business towards a desired target, right? So we need to definitely have a method of establishing of how we can establish the performance standard, whether it be setting up sales targets, whether it be setting up of what you can say production targets, or whatever it is, depending upon the goal that we are trying to achieve, we can set our standards. And then depending on then what we will do is after a certain point of time, we will measure how where we are at and where we actually wanted to go, and whatever the difference is, whatever corrective step needs to be taken in order to move us closer to the target, we will do that, right? So that is the importance of the controlling function and the process of control in the organization. Okay, it will help us determine if the performance matches the standard and take corrective action, as well as we will be able to reevaluate our standards as well. Then again, if you choose to write the fifth question, that is short note on any 3 of the following, again you are given 5 choices: economic model of decision making, scalar principle, importance of communication, organizational culture, and resistance to change, right? So though only 3 are needed, we will discuss all 5 here, okay, because we don't want to skip anything. So what is the economic model of decision making? Again, it is you can talk about what, in short, you can talk about what decision making is. For such questions, short note questions, if you are attempting to write, and since they have asked you to write at least on any 3 only, okay, you don't need to write. There is absolutely not required to write all 5. Even if you write, I don't think they will bother checking for more than the first 3, right? So I would suggest at least go for one sheet, okay, 2 sides, 2 pages for one topic. So let us go for the economic model of decision making. You can start by saying what decision making is and how important it is. Then you can talk about the economic model of decision making. So again, this is also the type of decision making for making choices between various alternatives. According to this principle, what we think about. So according to this economic model of decision making, which is also called as the economic man model, okay, we think that the decision makers or the common man is a very economic person. What he will do is, given a choice, given what you can say, given a juncture where he has to make decision, he will first find out what all alternatives are there around him. Okay, he will evaluate all the alternatives and then choose the best among it, because we all want to maximize our what you can say, utility. That is the economic man model. That is what the economic man model says, right? It's also called as the econological model also. Like for example, if you have 10 rupees, how best you can use that 10 rupees. You can go buy a package of Lays. If you can maybe get a small packet of dairy milk. You can buy a pack of bingos. Maybe you can get a small 7-Up or Pepsi or Mirinda. Maybe you can go and buy one pav bhaji, right? Or if required, you can buy from me the answer script for the section A. Okay, I have prepared an answer script detailing all the answers which we have discussed for this December 2022. Okay, which is also priced at just rupees 10. That is a paid service. I will be giving you a PDF wherein I have in detail written all the answers whichever we have discussed in detail, aiming for 20 marks. Okay, if required, you guys can connect with me. I'll leave the email ID below. It is connect.anusclassroom@gmail.com, wherein you can connect with me and I can share the payment details and everything with you if you are interested in buying it. Okay, so those are the different options if you have 10 rupees with you. Now, an economic man model, according to this method of decision making, says that that person who is having that 10 rupees and wanting to decide on how to spend it will evaluate all the choices and then do it. But rarely that is the case. We all know if you are hungry, then definitely you will go and buy a package of Lays or even a pav bhaji, depending upon your preferences, right? Or how hungry you are. You will not be thinking of many other things there, which you could have done with that 10 rupees. So that is the economic model of decision making. Then scalar principle, coming to scalar principle, it is a type of communication strategy or a flow of communication there. Okay, according to this, what it says is that communication follows in a scalar line of command from top to bottom. So let's say a person A is the CEO, then he has say person A, B, C, D, E, 4 people. Okay, maybe these are from the sales department and this is from the marketing department. We have L, M, N and O. Okay, so according to the scalar principle, how the line of command or communication will flow is from A to B, C, D, E, E. A can also communicate with the marketing team, LMNOP, right? Or this E, which is the last level, can communicate to D, D can communicate to C, C can communicate to B, and B can communicate to A. Similarly, O can communicate to N, N to M, M to L, and L to A. Suppose E wants to communicate with O, he has to go to D, C, B, A has to pass the message to L, M, N, and O for decision making. Okay, if it is a serious decision making issue. Otherwise, they can form a gang plan and directly communicate. Okay, so that is the scalar principle. So next is the importance of communication. So definitely we all know how important communication is, right? Effective communication is very significant for managers to perform the basic functions of management. We are talking about planning, organizing, staffing, leading, controlling, all those things. The basic things itself, if you want to do effectively and properly, you need to have effective communication, right? So it promotes motivation, it acts as a source of information, it helps in altering an individual's attitudes, even it helps us to socialize, helps and becomes a controlling process as well, right? Then there are various hierarchies and certain principles and guidelines that employees must follow in an organization for that proper communication to happen, right? And there are informal and formal communication, all those kind of things that you whatever you know about, you can write as the importance of communication. You can also, if required and if you have the space to write, you can talk about what happens if there is no effective communication. Lack of employee morale, there will be conflicts, there will be misunderstandings, deviations, derailments from the organization's goals, there will be unrest, right? Lot of very bad things could happen without proper communication. You can even write those in case you have the space, in case you haven't filled up the 2 pages. Okay, I'm not talking about sheets here, at least pages. Okay, 2 sides of the sheet you can write down. Then organizational culture, what is it? It is the collection of values, expectations and practices which guide and inform the actions of all team members, and we can think of it as a collection of traits that make our company what it is, right? A great culture exemplifies positive traits which lead to improved performance, while dysfunctional company culture will bring out qualities that can hinder even the most successful of organizations. A good organizational culture, we have always found, is what is the major factor in retaining your employees. If your company doesn't treat you well, no matter how much the company pays you, you will find that employees are hard pressed to stay in that organization. If the company's values, the company's culture is in total conflict with the individual's values and culture, then also people will find it difficult to stay with that company and they will move on. Okay, better opportunities to moving ahead for in search of better opportunities, I must say, is not just monetary. Okay, there are a lot more definitions or not lot more phases to that better opportunity, that term better opportunity when it comes to business. Okay, so an organizational culture, a very good organizational culture, is something that the CEO or the the top management or the what you can say organizers of that organization brings to the company, and which gets what you can say which gets imbibed in all the people working for the company. It helps in bringing an alignment to goals, helps in creating a culture of appreciation and trust. Okay, performance improves, resilience comes in, teamwork comes in, integrity, innovation, right? Supporting the employees' needs or their psychological safety. All these things come into picture when you talk about organizational culture. Then the last one is resistance to change. Okay, so you can say about what resistance to change is. Change is something that is inevitable, right? Change will happen, and whenever a change happens, definitely people will all be very much resistant to change. If you remember, when corona first hit and we all were locked up in our homes, that was a change, and we were all trying to get out of our house because we were all accustomed to being out and constantly on the run, that we did not know what to do in that time. And we were not able to go out, we were not able to buy things as we wanted, we were not able to socialize with others. It was a change, and it took us some time. Though we were very fast about it, definitely did take us some time to adjust to that change. Similarly, now that everywhere it is opening up, you can see that in the IT sector especially, or in the case of work from office, work from home, again there is a shift now that people have seen how much they can get done while sitting at home, okay, without losing on their productivity. Why should we bother to get stuck in that same hectic traffic 2 or 3 hours a day and toil, while we can be spending that time, quality time, with our family members? Especially in the case of women like me, why not spend it with our family? Okay, if it is possible, if we can do it for the past 3 years, then why are you guys pushing us? Again, this is a resistance to change, and how managers and how companies what you can say respond to this resistance to change might actually be a what you can say a turning point in how work is handled, right, in modern times. So when there is so you can talk about what are the several reasons why people might be resistant, or your employees might be resistant to change, right? Mistrust, lack of confidence, emotional responses, right? All those things you can talk about. So, and you can fill the page. So that was section A. So before going on to the section B, that is the case study, I thought I'll just give you a quick glance on the question answer sheet script I said that I have prepared. Okay, from my knowledge, definitely. So here, as you can see, I have in detail given all the things that you could write in order to fill up those 4 pages and get those 20 marks. Okay, so this is just a sample of the first answer. So in case you are interested, as I said, it is just a matter of just 10 rupees. Okay, you will get for December 2022's paper. And in case this is in case you guys are giving a good response to this, I will definitely think about continuing this for the rest of the papers as well. This is totally optional, as this is a paid service. All the free services like the classes and everything will continue as it is, totally optional. Okay, so in case you are interested, do drop me a mail at connect.anusclassroom@gmail.com. I will also leave my email ID in the description box below in case you want to get in touch with me. Okay, so let us go ahead to the most awaited section over here, right? That is case study discussion. So this is how the case study is. Okay, they have given us a para, okay, an excerpt, and questions are being asked. In case you want to skip ahead to just the place where I am discussing the questions, feel free to do so. Okay, here right now what I'm going to do is I'll read through this, okay, and we will note down the important points. Okay, so the company here is ABC Manufacturing Company. Okay, so it is a manufacturing firm, it is a product firm, it is a metal working plant. Okay, it is under the direction of a plant manager. Okay, so the first level is a plant manager who is a very strict disciplinarian. So he's a very strict person. Okay, now one day what happened? So under him there will definitely be a foreman. Okay, and there are multiple workers. So one of the workers over here is Mr. Bhola. Okay, one of the workers, at the time clock punching out, okay, he punched 2 cards, his and the other person, Natu, okay, a fellow worker. Now, it was the rule of the company that each man must punch out only his own card. Now, the foreman asked Bola to accompany him to the personal director. That is, you can say, HR kind of a person, I must believe, personal director, and he interpreted the incident as a direct violation of a rule. Okay, so definitely there must have been a rule that each man must only punch out his own card. That is the rule in the company. Okay, it is a whatever Bola did, okay, was a direct violation of rule, and therefore what the personal director did, okay, the personal director did is he immediately gave termination notice. Okay, that is notice of immediate notice of discharge to both the workers. Now the two workers came to see the personal director on the following day. Nathu claimed that he did not ask his card to be punched, okay, and did not know also that it was being punched. What happened was Nathu was offered a ride by a friend who had already punched out, and that friend could not wait for him to go through the punch out procedure either. Okay, and why Nathu was in all hurry to not even to definitely get the ride is because he was worried his wife who was ill at home and was anxious to reach home as quickly as possible. Okay, so what he did is he thought that he will take his car to the foreman the next morning for reinstatement, okay, rather than punching out. That is a provision which is sometimes exercised in such cases. Okay, and whatever Nathu said was also verified by Bola. Yes, this is what happened. And why? So now the next question came to Bola, right? Why Bola did it? If Nathu did not ask him to, then why Bola did it? Did Bola do it with by knowing that the punching two cards was illegal, was not permitted in the organization? He claimed that he punched Nathu's card on goodwill, right? He did not. He thought, okay, why not punch his own card when I am punching my own? Okay, the same time he punched his own, not being conscious of any wrongdoing, right? So what can we notice over here is that in ABC firm, the policies or the what you can say the rules of the organization with regard to punching the card or anything was not known to the workers of the organization. There is no proper knowledge training or you can say onboarding for employees in this matter. Even if there was an initial onboarding, there should have been provisions to keep on refreshing these things, right, to the employees so that they are always aware. That might not have been there is what I can infer from the whole scenario so far. And that is why Bola was not aware of any wrongdoing. He did not know that what he did is wrong until the foreman pointed it out and immediately gave this escalation. Now, the personal director was inclined to believe the story of the two men. Okay, so the HR, they wanted to believe the story of the two men, but he did not feel that he could reverse the action taken. Okay, so maybe whatever you guys said is true, but from the HR perspective, the rules were clear. He couldn't do anything. His hands were tied. He recognized that these men were good workers and had good records prior to this incident. Nevertheless, they had violated a rule for which the penalty was immediate discharge. He also reminded them that it was the policy of the company to enforce this rule without exception. Okay, now what happened? A few days later, the personal director, the plant manager, and another person, the sales manager, sat together at lunch. Now, the sales manager is reporting that he was faced with the necessity of notifying one of their best customers that their order must be delayed because of the liability of one of the departments to conform to schedule. Okay, so one of the departments in the organization, since they were lagging behind in their work, sales manager had to go to the customer saying, I'm really sorry, we had promised you that we will deliver so and so number of goods to you at say a particular date, but currently we are running out of that schedule, we'll have to delay it. Okay, so now what happened? Which was this department in question? It was the department from which these two workers, Bola and Nathu, were discharged. Not only had it been impossible to replace these men to date, but there has started a disgruntlement over this incident, which has led to a significant decline in the cooperation of the other workers as well. Okay, because you think from the workers' point of view, see, we were not aware that this thing should not have been done. So what workers are feeling that they are being done wrong, right, by the management for all the hard work and dedication that they might have put into the organization. This is how they are being treated. Okay, doesn't sit well with employees, doesn't sit well with anybody, right? The personal director and the sales manager took the position that the discharge of these two valuable men could have been avoided if there had been a provision for considering the circumstances of the case. But the current rules of the organization did not have any provision, right? They pointed out that the incident was costly to the company in the possible loss of a customer, in the dissatisfaction within the employee group, and in the time and money that would be involved in recruiting somebody else and then training them to become as good replacements to these two workers, right? The plant manager, but being a very strict disciplinarian, could not agree with this point of view, and he was of the opinion that we must have rules if we are to have efficiency, and the rules are no good unless we enforce them. Furthermore, if we start considering all these variations in circumstances, he was of the opinion that we will find ourselves loaded down with everybody thinking he is an exception, which is also true in one case, right? He admitted that the grievances were frequent, but countered it with the point that they could be of little consequence if the contract agreed to by the union was followed to the letter. Okay, so accordingly, maybe the union and the company may have come into a consensus saying that, and that is how maybe the rules had come into picture. Okay, these kind of punching out rules and all may have come into picture, and accordingly, even if a company terminates anybody on any kind of wrongdoing, like in this case, it might have been agreed that all the other employees would continue working as usual. Okay, so the plant manager was like, if the union's contract agreed to by the union was followed to the letter, then such things would not have occurred. Okay, so the plant manager was totally, what you can say, not at all in the same view as the sales manager or the personal director. So that is what I was also saying. See, such case studies uh, might be thought of in different manners. Just in this case also, the personal director or the sales manager or the plant manager, they were all managers almost at the same level, I could say. Okay, but they all had differing views. Now that is what I'm also saying in case of case studies, not just in this subject, any other subject that there is case studies. You read the para, okay, however you feel about it is how you should go about and write the answers. Okay, that is why I was reluctant to this point to actually not take up case studies, because it is totally up to the individual. Okay, if I say something, that is my point of view, and I do not want to cloud anybody's judgment into thinking that whatever I said is right. If you don't follow this, then you will not get marks. No, that is not the case at all. Okay, so even now when I'm discussing the further questions also, I would say I'm saying again and again that whatever is being discussed for this case study is totally my point of view. I do not want you guys to cloud your judgment or try to align your judgments to my point of view. No, that would defeat the whole purpose of having case studies. Okay, that would defeat the whole purpose of everything. It is not that only I am right. Okay, you might have your own reasons for choosing your own decisions, doing things your own way, and given such a circumstance, how would you behave is what you need to write down in the answer script. And whatever you decide to do it, you need to have a proper valid or proper reason, valid or invalid, you need to have a proper reason as to why you should do it, why you're doing it, or why you're choosing it. That is all that matters here. Okay, so according to you, what are the core issues in this case? Okay, I would like you, since this is a pre-recorded session, and depending upon the response I get off out of this session, so this is in many ways a pilot session, I would say. Okay, depending upon your participation in this session, I would definitely think of considering keeping maybe live sessions or something like that in the upcoming term and examinations or the upcoming semesters as much as possible, so that we can discuss in live and discuss amongst our community members on such case studies. Okay, so at that point of time, definitely you guys, I would want you guys to tell what your point of view is. Okay, and that is how we can learn, that is how managers can be molded, that is how anybody can learn, right, from experience, from the ideas of others. We are all social beings, right? So that is what Anu's classroom aims at reaching at one point of time. That is what I want you, I want you guys to have as well, because IGNO is a distance education platform, and this is where this connect is where we are all lacking, right? So I want to create that platform in Anu's classroom. That is my mission, that is my vision. So depending upon your response to this video, definitely I would be, trying going ahead with that. So what are the core issues in this case? What do you guys think is the core issue in this case? Please, comment down below. Okay, what the core issues are. I would say no proper training given to the employees as to the company policies is one issue, right? And not having a consideration to the circumstance is also an issue, right? If employees knew about the consequences that they might face. Okay, if they knew, Bola or Natu knew that this action of theirs might lead to both of them going out of the job, Bola would definitely not have done it because he wouldn't want to lose his job, right? Natu also might not have done it, right? Natu did not do it. Bola would definitely not have done it. It would not have been this costly to them. Now, employees who are skilled, I would say people who love to work or have that willingness to work, they will find work. Okay, somehow or the other, at one point they will find work. Okay, if a company loses a talent, it could be severe. Maybe you will think, if and especially for small businesses, MNCs who just want a person with good typing skills may not suffer as much, but when the number of disgruntled, dissatisfied employees increases, it is bound to, it's bound to rebound on your profits as well. Okay, because if there are managers out there, if there are organizations out there who know how to treat your employees well, definitely there will be a surge over there, and definitely as talent pools in, the profits also go up, right? So what are the core issues in this case according to you? If you guys would be so kind as to comment down below, it would help us a lot, help our community members a lot in learning from this, right? Now, if you were at the position of the personal director, which of the following courses of action would you have chosen and why? Would you have discharged both men? Okay, would you have discharged just Bola, because after all it was Bola who punched two cards, right? Would you have discharged just Natu because he did not punch his card and he went? Would you have discharged neither of them? Okay, so maybe some of you might be of the opinion that since Bola is the one who actually did the thing, Natu did not ask for it. Natu would have taken care of his card. Bola just wanted to do his own thing. Bola was just supposed to do his own punching only. Why did he do Natu's without even Natu asking? So we should not have actually terminated Natu, but just Bola. You might have that opinion. If that is the case, then you are bound, I mean, you're free to say that, but just also enlighten us with the justification for doing that, right? Or if you would have just discharged Natu only because Natu was not supposed to leave his punch card unattended like that, so it is Natu's mistake. You might think like that also. Or you might be of the opinion that if I were the HR, then definitely I would have fought for my employees. I would have brought forth to the management, see, losing these employees just because of this might lead to so and so and so on problems, like what the sales manager said. Since this is something, maybe we can give a one-time exception, and maybe we can leave them off with a one-time warning this time, and if anybody repeats it the next, then we will definitely, if they repeat next time, then we will go for termination, because at that time then they would be doing that knowingly. And maybe we can go and think about some plans to uh, get the employees aware of these rules and what to do and what not to do, how some certain actions might penalize them in ways beyond their imagination, kind of things. Maybe we should think about some training programs like that. Maybe you can think, right? So that is also fine. So whichever of these four choices you would take, if you can comment down that below along with your justification, it will help us, all our community members, in boosting our own perspectives as well, right? So maybe we can start a discussion down below, because this is a recorded session, and maybe once we go for a live session, maybe then we can all discuss together, right? So let me know about your opinions, and please do make this successful. I would really appreciate that, because it will be of help not just for us but also the upcoming guys in IGNOU as well. I really want this to be a platform where we all can grow. Just because we are doing a distance education, I believe we should not be lacking in anything that a regular class going student might be getting that exposure, right? So let us try our best to bring that exposure here. Now, what other policy and procedural changes would you recommend for handling such cases in the future? Again, my opinion is we should get more training programs done, get more awareness programs done, maybe bulletin boards, so that everybody, we should make sure that everybody is aware. Maybe we can even do surveys with which the HR department can take some time and do some sort of a survey, or give some compulsory training programs or mandatory courses for the all employees to complete. Things like that can be brought forth, is my opinion. Again, what you think is your opinion, how you would handle it is what is being asked to you. So that is the end of MMPC 1 term and examination discussion. I know this has been a little bit long session, but I hope that this is worth your time which you had to spend over here. And again, I thank you all for sticking till this end. Okay, and I hope I will be able to be of use. I hope this session was of use to you guys in giving you an idea of how to handle your term and examinations well for good marks. And do leave your comments down below regarding how this video was, and if you are interested in having live sessions in the future, upcoming in the future for the other semesters as well. If you guys are all interested, then definitely I will think about it. I really want to do that. Okay, but this is not something which I can do myself if I do not have enough participation, right? Because there are resources that go into this in order to conduct it, right? So if in case you guys are interested, let me know. And in case you are interested in buying the term and examination sample answers from me, do let me know that also, right? You can connect to me. You can drop me a mail at connect.anusclassroom@gmail.com. I will leave the email ID in the description box below, right? So thank you so much and all the very best for your term and examinations. Study well. May luck be with you, right? All the best. Thank you. Bye.